Welcome back to the show. Well, Collingwood boss Eddie Maguire is under mounting pressure this morning over his offer to drown sports journalist Caroline Wilson. His own club has criticised him. Car giant Holden is considering pulling out of their $3 million sponsorship deal. And Bill Shorten has cancelled an interview on Eddie Maguire's radio show today. But he has finally said sorry.
No person should ever feel uneasy or threatened in football's family. And for that, I'm deeply sorry and I apologise unreservedly to Caroline for putting her in that position.
I thought there was an element of bullying in it, and I'm very happy for the things that I write to be dissected, and I'm very happy for people to take me on about what I do. It happens to me every week, but I don't think that's the way to do it.
Eddie Maguire and Caroline Wilson there. Time now for the Mixed Grill with Shelly Horton and Ben Fordham. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Shelley, I'll start with you. It took a couple of goes, but Eddie has finally given a full apology. Should he be forgiven?
Too little, too late. I actually feel really upset about this, and it surprises me that I feel teary. I feel so upset about it. I feel nervous talking on Channel 9 about it, and this is exactly why his words are so hurtful. He's a very powerful man, and I think the fact that it comes when it's White Ribbon Week, it comes when we've just announced that the AFL is going to have a women's league. I think he hides behind his sexist comments, saying they're jokes, and newsflash, Eddie, you're not funny. And these comments really do hurt, and I think it's setting such a bad example. For me, I think, and I've started to analyse why I actually feel upset about this, and for me, I think it's the straw that broke the camel's back. I look back to Jessica Rowe and the boning incident. I look back to Adam Goodes and the gorilla comment, and I just go, enough is enough. Why is this man still on the air? Why is this man still having so much power? Even the fact that he has now said sorry, and he has said he's made a donation to domestic violence, I go, Eddie, you got it wrong. That wasn't domestic violence. It should be White Ribbon. That was violence against women. You can't even get that right. And I think he's a dinosaur, and if he was a real man, he'd step down because he knows the damage that he's doing to the sport he loves and the community that he should be representing.
Do you agree, Ben?
No, I don't, Lisa. I made a comment on radio yesterday afternoon that sometimes I question my own sense of humour, and I wonder whether it's defined in some way by my gender, because on first listen to it, and on second listen to it, and on third listen to it, what I heard was a conversation that sounded strikingly similar to the kind of conversation that we would have had on the Today Show sitting around at an outside broadcast. And probably in our case, if we were sitting around, there's a big pool of ice and water there. And so it becomes an obvious target for a joke. It's not like you go there thinking, I'm going to talk about pushing someone under the water, but we're pretty simple humans. So there's a tub of water there, and someone's going to think, OK, that'll be a funny joke. In our group, and I'm no longer sitting on the Today Show desk every morning, but the butt of the joke in our circle here would have been Carl, right? Because Carl's the bloke who we generally say, if someone had have said it, I probably would have said it to say, well, can someone hold Carl under the water while he's there? I don't think Eddie actually meant anything about drowning Caroline Wilson. And in fact, the conversation that took place on 3AW at exactly the same time with Caroline Wilson present, I know that she says, look, this is disgusting for Eddie to even suggest that this is somehow the same context as what was taking place. But if you just have a listen here, because I've got the audio here, if you have a listen to the same conversation that was taking place at the same time on a different radio station with Caroline Wilson present, is this any different? Have a listen.
We'd have to sell tickets for those who want to push you.
No,
yeah, right. I reckon.
Oh, yes. And hold her under, Dwayne.
All right, on that note.
Boys.
So Caroline
You know
Wilson
why
says
it's
their
different?
voice. Why?
It's completely different because she was there, and she was there to defend. She could defend herself. You mucking around saying you'd hold Carl underwater, he'd be there with you, and you might even have a wrestle and fall in the water, and then it does become funny. This just wasn't funny, and I think that for me, this is just one too many.
Which is why I recognise that my viewpoint on this is different, because I'm coming from a bloke's point of view. I said this to a very young and intelligent woman yesterday, and she said to me, I said, doesn't equality mean that we're all able to poke fun at each other equally? And she said, yeah, but we don't have equality yet. No. So talk to me when we do. And I thought that was a really, really good retort that she said back to me. So I recognise I'm coming from a different point of view, but I could sit here and pretend that I'm offended by it. But I'm here to say what I actually think. I don't think it was a big
but I'm
deal.
also here to say that Caroline went on air saying that she cops this sort of abuse every week.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine how hard it would be to be a sports journalist in such a male-dominated area. And for her to constantly be attacked and for her to still be there, I have absolute props to her.
And she's a great journalist.
And absolutely.
An investigative journalist, which is hard in a town like Melbourne, which is seen as very much a boys' club.
Big boys' club.
Yeah.
Mind you, I mean, she's risen to the top of it. You know, she's risen to the top of AFL
Through
reporting.
tenacity.
But how
and
many male
self-belief
reporters
and-
get that much abuse constantly?
Well, I mean, I think they all do. I think if you had a look at the Twitter feed of Carl or Lisa or Sylvia or Tim or Dickie or anyone on this show, I think you'd find they all cop it every single day.
Sure.
Because you're in the public place, and I'll be copying it right now. For
I'm
saying what I'm
happy
saying. That's just the
to
way it
delete
works.
any negative comment I get from a stranger. These are not comments from strangers. These are comments from peers and comments from people
And look,
who have power.
I think a lot of people were surprised, that bit of audio that you played, that Caroline wasn't stronger in a situation where she was present and had the
But
ability
that's
to
like-
say
But
something.
I don't blame her. It was a joke. It was a joke. She laughed it off.
But isn't it also a case of, for a lot of women, sometimes it's just easier to go along with the joke rather than be seen as the killjoy.
And then
who
sometimes
points
also it
out.
takes a little bit of time to process it, and it takes a lot of guts to stand up and say that you're not happy.
It's not
and
just-
sometimes you can't just react like that.
I'm sorry.
And it's conditioning.
It's not just for a lot of women it's for a lot of people. When you're the butt of the joke, it's not about being a woman. And again, this is from a bloke's point of view. When you're the butt of the joke, generally it is easier, even if you feel a little bit uncomfortable, to laugh it off. If Eddie Maguire walked up to Caroline Wilson at the MCG privately and said, listen, I wish you were dead or drowned, there's no way in the world I'd be here defending Eddie Maguire. But that's not the way it was. It was a day where they were raising a lot of money, everyone was having fun, no one was taking themselves seriously, and the evidence of that is that the same joke was cracked at the same time on another radio station. And guess what?
Don't think
when
you can
both
say
of
that's
these
evidence.
comments went
you
to
can
air,
just say that's an example. That's
sure,
not evidence because she was there.
When both of these examples went to air, when they both went to air, do you know how many complaints there were about it? None. Everyone heard it. Everyone thought this in the spirit of the day.
But that's the culture.
1 week later, someone got the transcript and then everyone said, oh, we're offended.
I think to finish this off, we go back to your original comment, which is we haven't got equality yet, and that's the context that it's seen in. And I think that's why so many people were offended.
Agreed.
Terrific.
Thank you.
Great chat.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Thanks, Shelley. Thanks, Ben. Well, coming up, our special investigation into